Who's that? Commander Claw. Who's back? Commander Claw. Welcome back to another episode of Breaking Brews. I am your host, Commander Claw. If it's your first time visiting my channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. This Breaking Brews series is all about bringing you guys 5 cards to help brew ideas. I'm going to leave out some of the staples. I like to look for the most obvious things and some of the most hidden throwback cards to intertwine in the mix of your deck building idea. So look forward to those. Otherwise, y'all should know what to do. Watch the video. If there are any cards that you think work well with this commander, put it in the suggestion in the comment section. Anyway, let's talk about another Final Fantasy commander. Her name is Yuna, Hope of Spira. For 3 green and a white, she is an Enchantress commander. Generally, when I see Selesyna colors, I think Enchantress or +1/+1 counters. Okay. The other thing about this commander, she's going to be 2 card types: enchantment creatures. So, as you're deck building, think about those 2 card types and cards that look for additional card types to have additional effects. So that way you increase your synergistic deck building that you got brewing on. Without further ado, let's introduce Yuna, Hope of Spira, and all of her abilities. All right, to move her from the command zone onto the battlefield, you got to pay 3 green and a white. She's a 3/5 body, legendary human cleric. The reason why I stopped on the cleric, because I've been playing Magic for a while, back in the day with Kamigawa and stuff like that, and clerics are making a comeback a lot in this set. And I'm also thinking that I need to make a video on this. Final Fantasy, this set is replacing all of Magic. That's my theory. That's my theory. Anyway, back to Yuna. Her ability says, during your turn, Yuna and enchantment creatures you control have trample, lifelink, and ward 2. At the beginning of your end step, return up to 1 target enchantment card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. If a permanent with a finality counter on it will be put into a graveyard from the battlefield, exile it instead. So, first of all, if you have enchantment creatures and on your turn, they just get additional keywords: trample, lifelink, and ward 2. So they're already overrunning your opponent's blockers. You're gaining life if you run over them, and you deal damage to the creature and to their opponent. Then they're hexproof. Sorry, they're not hexproof. It's ward 2, which means if somebody tries to target your enchantment creature with a spell or ability, they have to pay an additional 2 mana. That is taxing. That is very powerful. So pretty much on your combat phase and your turn and post combat, all the way to your end step, your opponents really are limited to interacting on your powerful enchantment creatures. Let's not forget this last ability, reanimating all those enchantment cards. Not only can you reanimate enchantment creatures, you can reanimate enchantments. That's where things can get ugly. And to be honest with you, this commander can go very well in the 99 of other decks that play enchantments. Just to be honest with you, to reanimate enchantments, that is disgusting. Just at the beginning of your end step, you don't even have to pay anything. You just put a finality counter on it, and if that enchantment gets removed somehow, hey, it gets exiled. But what you probably don't know yet, there's ways to remove counters. Ooh, so guess what? We're going to remove that finality counter, and guess what? If it dies, it dies. It just goes back into the graveyard, not into exile. Nasty. And I had that card at the very end of this video. But let's talk about what Final Fantasy has been bringing you, the enchantment summons. All right, so I'm going to go through these really quick because these cards, if you've been looking at the spoilers, they're all over the place. The enchantment summons. Let's talk about the first one. We're going to summon Yojimbo for 3 and a white, okay? As the saga enters, and after your draw step, add a lore counter, sacrifice after chapter 4. First chapter, exile target artifact, enchantment, or tap creature and opponent controls. Damn, that's good. Chapters 2 and 3. Until your next turn, creatures attack you unless their controllers pay 2 for each of those creatures. Okay, so that says, hey, opponents, you're not really attacking me. You don't want to pay that extra 2 mana unless you really got it like that. Then chapter 4, create X treasure tokens where X is the number of opponents who control a creature with power 4 or greater. Come on, man. What? Hold up. Okay. And it is a enchantment creature saga samurai. It's a 5/5 with vigilance. Are you kidding me? All that for 4 mana? What makes this summon creatures, enchantment summon creatures really nasty is they have abilities on the following turns. That's overwhelming. That you get so much value for 4 mana. Granted, the downfall is it is a creature, so it can be susceptible to target creature removal alongside enchantment removal. But still, if this sits on the board for 4 turns, you get all those effects. I'm moving on. Moving on. All right. Next one is Magus Sisters for 4 and a green. Okay. Same thing. For chapters 1, 2, and 3, choose one at random. First one is combined powers, exclamation point. Put 3+1/+1 counters on target creature. Or defense. Put a shield counter on target creature. I love shield counters. That's one of my favorite counters. Yeah, Falco Spara Weaver. Yeah, Reaver. Anyways, chapter 3, or I'm sorry, the third ability. It says fight. This creature fights up to one target creature an opponent controls. Also, is an enchantment creature, Saga Fairy, a 5/5 with haste. Okay, let's unpack this really quick. Those 3 abilities that you have to choose at random are not bad at all. These are just like Russian, not Russian. It's like rolling the dice on what ability you want to have, and you should do well no matter what. Either you got creature removal, defending your creature by putting a shield counter. I can't imagine 3 shield counters on a creature. If you don't know what a shield counter is, shield counter says whenever a creature takes damage, remove a shield counter and prevent the damage dealt to it. So shield counter helps your creature survive a blasphemous act. That's a good way to look at it. Then or put 3+1/+1 counters on target creature. If you get that 3 times, that's +9/+9, all for 5 mana while you have a 5/5 haste. And you can do this all on the Magus Sisters. Are you kidding me? I'm moving on to the next cards. All right, here we go. More powerful cards. We got the Bahamut. There's another saga chapter. All right, chapters 1 and 2. Destroy up to one target non-land permanent. Okay. Chapter 3. Draw 2 cards. Okay. Chapter 4. Mega Flare. This creature deals damage equal to the total mana value of other permanents you control to each opponent. Oh, it costs 9 to cast. How ironic is that? Okay. It's an enchantment creature Saga Dragon, a 9/9 flyer. If this card makes it to chapter 4, that is game over for your opponents. They will take at least 9 damage because Bahamut is on the battlefield and he costs 9 to cast. I have nothing else to say about that. You remove up to two target non-land permanents, chapters 1 to 2, draw 2 cards, that's card advantage, and just deal damage to each of your opponents. I'm moving on. All right, next one is chapter summon Knights of the Round for 6 and 2 white. Chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4. Create 3 2/2 white knight creature tokens. That is absurd. Okay. Chapter 5. Ultimate End. Other creatures you control get +2/+2 until end of turn. Put an indestructible counter on each of them. While this is an enchantment creature, Saga Knight, a 3/3 indestructible. Wow. Wow. All that for 8 mana, that's crazy value. If this sits on the battlefield all the way to chapter 5, I don't know what your opponents can do besides a holy day. That, like, if they have the ability to interact when you go to your attack phase. Like, you are literally buffing all your creatures except for Knights of the Round. And he's already indestructible. You're giving them +2/+2 and indestructible. It just encourages you to go wide. What is nasty about this card, or sagas in general, they're just triggered abilities. So you don't have to pay anything or extra investment of mana to activate them. They just need to stay on the battlefield. Nobody in their right mind playing against you is going to let you sit this on the battlefield. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If I see Knights of the Round on the battlefield, I'm hitting it with a Swords of Plowshare automatically. Moving on. All right, so I just had to take a breather because these chapter summon creatures are off the chain. Off the chain. All I got to say, if you're watching this video, you better add your own enchantment removal for yourself because I bet your opponents will be playing with those cards because just because you're looking at it doesn't mean they're not looking at it. Anyway, cards that you can reanimate using Yuna, they're going to be enchantments. So let's talk about some cards you can reanimate. Let's like some prison effects. Grasp of Fate, a very good staple in white. For 1 and 2 white, it's an enchantment. When Grasp of Fate enters the battlefield, for each opponent, exile up to one target non-land permanent that player controls until Grasp of Fate leaves the battlefield. Those permanents return under their owner's control. This is really good because it's targeting non-land permanents. That means it can get rid of planeswalkers, enchantments, creatures, artifacts, and all those chapter summons that I'm telling you to put in your Yuna Hope of Spirit deck. yeah, yeah. Grasp of Fate. And guess what? Remember, Yuna triggers at the beginning of your end step. So you just got a nice removal piece with Grasp of Fate. Now it's temporary because your opponents can't blow it up and you're kind of back to the same situation on what you removed. But also know this is a good political card. Bargain wisely. Moving on. So back to sagas. This is one of my favorite sagas. I actually have it in my Roxanne Starval Savant deck. Ooh, I need to put that in the top right hand corner if I remember to put it in there. This card is really good for creating copies of tokens. Okay, so as I read this card, think about other decks you could use this in, and you'll be surprised. All right, City of Death for 2 and a green, Enchantment Saga. Chapters 1 says create a treasure token. Chapters 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 says create a token that's a copy of target non-saga token you control. Okay. So what you could put this in. Okay, let me back up. In general, what it's doing is making 5 additional copies of treasure tokens. Okay. But when you get to chapters 2 through 6, you got the option to target a different type of token. You can have a copy of an artifact token, such as a clue token, a food token, a blood token. What other else token? Creature tokens that you made copies of. They can all be copied just by this saga. Okay. And really, why I wanted to share this card is I feel like it's not talked about enough, and I just wanted to throw that back out there. Fortunately, in this video, you can't. Unfortunately, in this video, you can't target non-saga tokens. Okay, so it won't work with Knights of the Realm, Bahamut, and the Magus Sisters. It won't work with those. Remember, copy tokens. So, moving on to removing finality counters. So, the reason why you want to remove counters, finality counters, lore counters, which go on sagas, is so you can keep it on the battlefield or repeat a triggered ability. Let me introduce you to Power Conduit. For 2 mana, for only 2 mana, it's an artifact that says tap it. Remove a counter from a permanent you control. Choose one. Put a charge counter on target artifact or put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. So you decide which chapter summon creature you want to remove the lower counter from so you get that ability again on the following turn. You know, the choice is yours. That's the first thing I thought of, and I was like, this is abusive. If you want to continuously make 2/2 knights, right? Have a blast. Have a blast. Fica vontade. That's Brazilian Portuguese. You know, have a blast. There's nothing else to say. This is a card that you must add in your deck so you can repeat certain chapters on these saga creatures. Hey, move to the summary. So, just in summary, this commander works well with all the chapter summon creatures. They are absurd. So not only do they have all those abilities on your turn with Yuna, Hope of Spira, they have Trample, they got Lifelink, and Ward 2. So your opponents are going to have a very tough time removing your most powerful chapter summons. Enchantment creatures, saga creatures. That is insane. Then guess what? If they happen to remove it and that card is in your graveyard, at the beginning of your end step, you just get to reanimate it. No, you don't even have to pay anything. It's just a triggered ability. At the beginning of your end step, put an enchantment card back on the battlefield with a finality counter. And I already showed you the last card of this video. Remove any type of counter from a permanent. Oh, really? Oh, you're gonna remove that finality counter and keep all these crazy chapter summon creatures on the battlefield. And let's not forget the power conduit can add a +1/+1 counter on your strong creatures anyway. Or you can put a -1/-1 counter on a creature, and hopefully it's just at 1 life, and you can let it go to the graveyard and get a leave the battlefield ability. Just saying. But thank you for watching this video. If you thoroughly enjoyed it, make sure you hit the like, comment on any other cards that I may have missed, or you want to share with this whole crew, the whole world. Thank you for your time. Peace out. Command Club.